Coming up on today's Alabama Football Report, some spring practice observations from On3 and others who were in attendance, some recruiting updates, 2025 and 2026, and Alabama AD Greg Byrne responds to the Texas A&M rumors. Now, if you are excited that spring practice is underway for Alabama, like I think pretty much all of us are, then show us by liking today's video right now. Some of the more noteworthy spring practice observations, Keon Keeley spent some time alongside the defensive line and working with them, which I find very interesting. Now, we've got some good insights here from defensive coordinator Kane Wommack, who said this about Keon Keeley. When you look at Keon, you see his frame and how he's developed. He's got a frame that's going to grow more into that bandit role for us. That bandit position can play 9 technique, which is kind of way outside. It's lined up beyond the tight end. It's a pure edge rusher role. It's a wide 9 technique. A 5 technique, which you should think of as more of like the 3-4 defensive end. It's a defensive end, but there's normally somebody outside of him, or maybe he's just the base defensive end in that stance, and can reduce down and play a 4-eye. So that's 4 inside, so kind of a defensive tackle basically at times. I think as you see what Keon is developing into and what he may develop into at the next level, that's probably a better fit for him. Probably means they'll add a little bit of mass to Keon Keeley's frame and make him into the base defensive end, we'll call it, which leaves rooms for guys like Quandarius Robinson and others to be on the outside as that pass rushing linebacker. All right, next up on the spring practice observation, who's taking offensive line 1 reps with this team? And I think there will still be some shuffling here, but again, per On3, this is how the offensive line broke down. Elijah Pritchett at left tackle. Nikhil Bertrand was the top backup. Tyler Booker was in there at left guard. Olis Alinen was the backup left guard. James Brockermeyer over Parker Brailsford, which I continue to find curious and maybe just not a real sign of how things will change and develop as things move forward. Maybe they're just giving the early reps to the incumbent, and building that trust, whatever. Or they just want to see what Brockermeyer has because they know what they have in Brailsford, maybe, because this is the staff that had him previously. Jaden Roberts at right guard, Rock Montgomery as the backup there. Wilkin Formby ahead of Miles McVay. That right tackle spot, make no mistake, will take a longer time to develop and have that battle brew. So pick a center. JB for James Brockermeyer, PB for Parker Brailsford. I'm typing in my P. I'm going to, until it's week 1 and he's not out there, I think Parker's going to start. What do you guys think, though? Sound off in the comments section. Caleb Odom, by the way, is getting reps with the wide receivers. Now, we kind of alluded to this previously when he had changed his bio to be wide receiver and not tight end. Think of this as your big slot, maybe. And maybe he's got enough juice to stay on the outside as well. But the Washington offense didn't necessarily maximize tight ends. They were involved, but not in the same way maybe Tommy Reese would have at some of his previous stops at Notre Dame. So I'm curious to see what ends up happening with Odom and how he's utilized in year 1. I still like the kid a lot, but I am curious what type of role he gets, not just year 1, but moving forward. Let's talk defensive backs as well. The DB outlook is interesting, to say the least, and uncertain as well. I think you will see a lot of shuffling and adjustments and situational changes, etc. Of note, Damani Jackson outside at corner, Zabin Brown behind him. Jaleel Hurley, who is, experienced in the sense that he's been on campus longer, over Jalen Mbakwe. That also could certainly change. The Husky role, Malachi Moore, Devonta Smith behind him. Keon Sabb at strong safety with Bray Hubbard behind him. Red Morgan getting some early run with the ones as a freshman at safety. Peyton Woodard behind him. Tony Mitchell, by the way, I think actually is going to be a good fit in the Husky role. And maybe what you end up eventually seeing is Mitchell goes to be the backup at Husky behind Malachi Moore, and Smith gets some more run at safety. They'll do experimentation stuff and figure out where guys are best. That's what spring practice is for, although Mitchell had the hamstring strap on his leg, so probably being extra cautious with him. We will have plenty of spring practice coverage for you guys right here on the channel. So do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now. Finally, what's going to happen with linebacker 2 and the depth behind obvious starter Deontay Lawson, who, by the way, is wearing number 0. I like it. I think 0 works on a linebacker, especially when they're a good athlete there. I would anticipate this. Lawson, Jihad Campbell, and then how do things figure out? Maybe it is Justin Jefferson and Jeremiah Alexander. Maybe this team gets creative at some times and tries some of those pass rushers off at off-ball linebacker for certain packages. You trust Lawson. I think you feel pretty good about Campbell. Short-term, long-term. You got to figure out the depth at linebacker. That is a key part of the Kane Wommack defense. Once again, folks, Alabama jerseys are on sale up to 30% off when you go to chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. We'll put that link in both the comment section and the description of today's show. That's chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. You can get some alumni players. Those ones are often on sale, maybe even at the 30%, or sometimes you see a little bit higher. We'll link it for you in the comments and the description, though. chatsports.com/Alabama jersey. Now, Wednesday saw a bunch of notable recruits visiting Alabama. The biggest of which probably is Naheem Offord, the 5-star cornerback, which is certainly a area that this Crimson Tide team is going to have to try to pursue. He's the number 6 overall player. He is, by the way, committed to Ohio State, which seems worth mentioning. He committed earlier this year. You could flip him. Boy, wouldn't that be quite the get for the Crimson Tide and Kalen DeBoer. Jordan Crawford, elite name, by the way, not the same as a basketball player. 4-star, 171 overall, also out of Alabama. Auburn commit there. Timothy Merritt, a 3-star corner, also from Alabama. 4-star wide receiver, C.J. Wiley. He's 220th overall. Again, these are all the composite rankings. How about the number 1 ranked player in the state of Mississippi, Caleb Cunningham, 5-star and number 10 overall. Daryl Johnson, a 4-star linebacker, goes by Duke as well, out of Georgia. He's 28th overall, the number 3 ranked linebacker. Rodarius Jackson, 4-star receiver. Dorian Barney, another higher ranked 4-star. He's in the top 50. Braylon Wommack is a 4-star, number 41 overall safety, also from Mississippi. He's in the 2026 class, by the way. So too is unranked in the composite, at least, Helman Kasuga. I think I got that right or wrong. Who knows? I also love, by the way, how high schools still just take the logos from college teams. That is the Tennessee T. Like, all that is clearly just ripped from Tennessee, but at least from Utah, FYI. The Just 24/7 Sports has him as 68th overall, so composite is often lagging behind for 2026 recruits. Of the 2025 grouping, who's your favorite recruit so far? Go ahead and let me know in the comments section. Now, there had been some rumors, whispers, theories that Alabama athletic director Greg Byrne could make the jump to Texas A&M because that cult thinks they can get anybody that they want. But at practice, does not sound like that's the case. Aaron Suttles tweeting out this. Just spoke with Alabama AD Greg Byrne about his interest in the Texas A&M job. He told me he doesn't want to be the AD anywhere but Alabama, saying, quote, Regina and I have felt genuinely supported by President Bell, our trustees, coaches, staff, and fan base since the day we arrived 7 years ago. We are excited about our future. Now, I also wouldn't expect him to say anything else if he was going to take the A&M job. He also probably just wouldn't have shown up to practice if he was going to and would have avoided the whole situation in and of itself. So I would be surprised if Byrne jumped ship to A&M or anywhere else. Alabama AD job is a pretty darn good one after all.